All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about a man who had, well, maybe one of the toughest jobs in all of history, the prophet Jeremiah. Now, his message is pretty intense, and his life story can be heartbreaking, but I need you to stick with me, because this journey through what looks like total ruin, it actually leads to this incredible message of hope that speaks right to where we are today.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Imagine your friends, your family, your entire community. They're all just happily walking right toward a cliff. And you're the one person who has to scream, "Stop!" But here's the thing. They don't listen. In fact, they don't just ignore you. They start calling you the enemy. Well, that was Jeremiah's life. And his story is just a profound look at what it takes to speak the truth when nobody wants to hear it.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start by really getting a handle on the crisis this nation was facing. Then we'll look at a couple of, well, strange but really powerful real-world parables. We'll feel the weight of what happened next. And then, and this is the most important part, we're going to discover this breathtaking hope that shines right through all the wreckage. You know, it's so easy to picture these ancient prophets as just angry, finger-pointing guys. But that's really not the whole picture. It's better to think of Jeremiah as a kind of spiritual doctor. He loved his people, and it's because he loved them so much that he had to give them a really serious life-or-death diagnosis. The nation of Judah was critically, spiritually ill. And this wasn't just a minor cold. I mean, look at this. This was a total systemic failure. Spiritually, they had turned their backs on God to worship idols, literally statues for every city. Socially, the entire system was corrupt. The most vulnerable people, orphans, widows, had no one to defend them. And it gets even darker. This decay led to some truly horrific things, like child sacrifice. And to top it all off, the spiritual leaders, the ones who should have been sounding the alarm, were telling everyone, "It's fine, peace, peace," when disaster was right around the corner. So this was Jeremiah's message. And yeah, it sounds harsh, but you have to try and hear the desperate love behind the words. This wasn't a threat. It was a plea. It was the doctor saying, look, the test results are in. If we don't start aggressive treatment right now, this thing is going to be fatal. The disaster he was talking about was a brutal invasion and being exiled from their home, their city, and their sacred temple completely destroyed. This was it. This was their last chance.
But words just weren't cutting it. The people needed to see the message in a way they couldn't just tune out. So God tells Jeremiah to perform one of the strangest but most powerful object lessons you'll find anywhere.
Can you just picture this? First, he goes and buys a brand new, clean linen belt, the kind a priest would wear. It's a symbol of honor. He's told to wear it right up against his skin, a picture of closeness, of intimacy. Then God tells him to take this pristine belt on a long journey and bury it in the wet, muddy banks of a river. And after a while, he says, "Okay, now go dig it back up." So what does he find? Well, the belt that was once clean and valuable, it's completely rotten, it's mildewed, it's totally useless. And the message was just brutally clear. God was saying, this is you. I made you to be close to me, to be a people of honor and praise, precious to me, like this belt. But you have buried yourselves in the mud of foreign gods and injustice, and now you're ruined for your intended purpose. Wow, what a gut punch of a visual. And that really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? I mean, what are the compromises we make, the things we get attached to? The muddy riverbanks in our own lives that can slowly but surely stain us and ruin us for what we were really meant to be? That's a question worth sitting with for a minute. But here's the tragedy. The people saw the ruined belt, and they did nothing. The warning was just completely ignored. So the message had to get even more dramatic, even more final. The window of opportunity for turning back was slamming shut. So God tells Jeremiah to get ready for another public live-action prophecy. And this time the symbolism was going to be even more shocking. Just imagine the scene. Jeremiah gets a clay jar, he gathers the city leaders, the elders, and he walks them out to a valley. And there, in front of every single one of them, he lifts that jar up high and he smashes it on the ground. Can you just hear that sharp crack echoing, the dust flying up, the jars in hundreds of tiny pieces that could never, ever be put back together? The message was unmistakable. This wasn't about being stained anymore. This was about a shattering so complete, so final, that repair was impossible. The destruction was now locked in. So we've seen the message, right? But we have to talk about the messenger. Because delivering these devastating truths, it took a huge personal toll on Jeremiah. He didn't enjoy any of this. It absolutely broke his heart. That's why he's often called the weeping prophet. To make him a living, breathing symbol of the sorrow that was coming, God gave Jeremiah this devastating command. You have to live a life of total isolation. He was forbidden from getting married. He wasn't allowed to go to weddings to celebrate or even go to funerals to mourn. His own life had to become this stark, lonely picture of the joyless reality his country was about to face. And how did the people respond to all his warnings? Oh, they hated him for it. His own family, his neighbors from his hometown, they plotted to kill him. He was publicly shamed, he was beaten, he was locked in stocks for everyone to mock. The pain, physically, emotionally, spiritually, was so intense that at his absolute lowest point, he actually cursed the day he was ever born. But through all of that, he never stopped. He never stopped delivering the message he was given. Okay, a ruined belt, a shattered jar, a weeping prophet. This all sounds unbelievably bleak, right? And it was. The judgment he predicted, the invasion, the exile, it all happened, exactly as he said it would. But that is not where this story ends. It's not even close. This right here, this is the pivot. This is the most important question in this entire story. Was God's ultimate plan just to punish and destroy? Or was all of this pain, this awful suffering, more like a severe but necessary surgery? The answer, woven through the words of Jeremiah and his contemporary Isaiah, is a resounding no. The shattering was never, ever the final word. Hope was. Judgment wasn't the end goal. It was the painful process of clearing out all the rot in the ruin to build something new, something beautiful, something that would last forever. The prophets could see beyond the destruction to a time of complete restoration, a whole new creation where all the brokenness, all the weeping, all the injustice and pain of this world would finally be healed. You see, the very same God who showed his power by allowing a nation to be shattered like a clay jar is also the master potter. He can take the most broken pieces, he can take dust, and create something breathtakingly new. Destruction was a horrifying chapter, for sure. But new creation is the glorious end of the story. The same power that shatters is the same power that restores. And that right there is the message from the weeping prophet that lasts forever. It's a raw, honest journey from total brokenness to an unbreakable hope. It reminds us that no matter how shattered things might seem in our own lives or in our world, that ruin is never the final word when God is involved. There is always the promise of a new creation. And so that leaves us with a question to carry with us. In what broken place do we need to believe in that hope for ourselves today? Thanks for exploring this incredible story with me.